Let's talk to Dr Lwazi Manzi from the Department of Health to talk to us a little bit and give us an update. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us on the line.
Thank you for having me.
So the story that we are reporting on is that it has been confirmed that 2 South Africans that were working on that Princess Diamond cruise ship in Japan have tested positive for coronavirus. Is this correct?
That is correct, absolutely. So just to give a little bit of background on that cruise ship, I'm sure everybody will have been keeping their eye on those news that the cruise ship around the beginning of the month, an elderly lady disembarked from that cruise ship and tested positive for coronavirus. Although the cruise ship did try to disembark their passengers at various ports, it was unfortunately not possible, and so they had to begin a period of quarantine on board the ship. Unfortunately, what then subsequently happened is that the virus did spread on board the ship, and to date there was about 705 that tested positive for coronavirus on board the ship, and there were about 4 fatalities. Now, the 12 South Africans that were on board the ship, they are crew members. They're working on the ship. We found out about their presence there on board the ship from the company that runs the ship on the 19th, which was the official end of that quarantine period. But what's happened is that they've had to phase the disembarkation process, and they prioritized the passengers. So what happens is that the passengers get tested. If they test negative, they then are allowed to disembark. And they are using PCR still, so it takes quite a while for the results to come back. So it all gets done in batches. They're still disembarking passengers. They're hoping that they will have completed the disembarkation of passengers by the end of the weekend. Then the rest of the South Africans who are still there, who were tested negative before, will then be tested, the ones who are the crew members, and only then will they be allowed to disembark. Yeah. The 2 who have tested positive were in fact asymptomatic. Be that as it may, of course, they would need to be transferred to a facility, which they have been, and they are being monitored there, and they're in an absolutely stable condition. They're fine.
Okay, so they're in a stable condition. So they're not in a medical facility right now, or would you know that?
No, they are. Yes, they are in a medical facility in Japan.
Okay,
where they are being monitored and isolated. Yes.
The rest of the South Africans that were on board that particular cruise liner, are they going to be brought back to South Africa, including those 2 that have been diagnosed with coronavirus? Are there plans afoot for that?
So the 2 that have been diagnosed with coronavirus are going to remain in the facility until they are cleared of coronavirus and are cleared fit to travel. The 10 who have been on board are still on board. The 10 who are remaining are still on board the cruise ship. As I said, they are prioritizing the disembarkation of the passengers first. Then they will allow all of the crew, including our own, to disembark. The process is that you may only disembark once you test negative for COVID-19. Be that as it may, it will not be possible for any of those crew members to then travel further after that, because their exposure to the virus has been very significant. 705 out of 3,700 people, that's actually the largest rate of infection in the world when you look at it proportionally.
Yeah.
So the exposure has been very significant. When they disembark the ships in Japan, they will still be subjected to a 14-day quarantine period to ensure that they absolutely are clear and to allow for the period of incubation to lapse before they will then be allowed to travel further. Once they are clear to travel, they'll be able to travel out of their own volition. They don't need to come back, or they can go wherever they want.
Okay.
But they will need to pass that period.
Yeah. Very, very quickly before we wrap here, Dr. Manzi, and I know we have to wrap this because we're running out of time, but the other South Africans that are being brought back from the Wuhan province in China, we're talking about 119 South Africans. When are they expected to arrive back in South Africa, and where will they then be transported to?
Give you a timeline at this stage. All I can say is that this is being treated as a matter of extreme urgency. We are trying to get them in as soon as possible. It is a military operation, and so this is something that in fact is being undertaken by and led by the military. We really are hoping to bring them back as soon as possible. If they're up to us, they would have been back yesterday.
All right, Dr. Lwazi Manzi from the Department of Health, thanks very much for talking to us, giving us the update on the coronavirus. Very quick break, and goodbye after this.
Thank you.